Okay, this is the question where you're going to need your protractor. Okay, so the holiday destination of 30 students. So acknowledging there's a total of 30 is really important, we're recorded. And it says, draw, so we're going to have to be accurate. It tells us it wants us to label it clearly, a pie chart to represent this information. So, at the moment, the numbers 6, 9, 3, 7 and 5 don't help us draw the pie chart. We need to work out some angles. So, we know that in a circle, angles around a point add to 360 degrees. We're sharing that across 30 students. This is non-calculator, so a technique that might make 360 divided by 30 easier might be to simplify it by dividing both by 10 to get 36 divided by 3. Either way, you get that there are 12 degrees per student, 12 degrees for each student. So the first thing we now need to do is work out how many degrees for each of the 5 countries. So let's put a little subheading and be really nice and clear. France has 6 students, each are 12 degrees, and 6 12s is 72 degrees. I did that by doing 6 10s and then 6 2s. Spain is 9 students at 12 degrees, and that sums to 108 degrees. Sorry, multiplies to 108 degrees. Italy, 3 students at 12 degrees. That gives a product of 36 degrees. Greece has 7 students, 12 degrees. I did 6 times 12 up there, so I know that's only 12 more. It's 84 degrees. And finally, America. 5 students at 12 degrees gives me 60 degrees. At this point, a really good check to make sure you've allocated all the students and all the degrees would be to spend 15 seconds adding 72, 108, 36, 84. So 2 plus 8 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 20. So I'll exchange that 2 and put a 0 here. 7 plus 3 is 10, 18 plus the 2 plus the 6 gets me 36. I've got 360. So I'm happy I've allocated all my degrees. So now I need to physically draw this pie chart. They give us a vertical line to start off. So let's start with France. Before we draw this, we know that a 72 degree angle, if that's 90, we know a 72 degree angle is acute. So we know we should be drawing less than 90. That's important to stop us picking the wrong side of the protractor. I'll put my protractor on, and I'll be really clear to make sure this base line and this crosshair are exactly on that vertical line and exactly in the center. I'm using 2 hands. As that's where the line starts, I'm going to be using the outside scale because I start counting at 0. I don't start counting at 180. My first angle is 72 degrees, so I come round 60, 70, 71, 72. I'll put a little dot there because now I'm going to take my protractor or my ruler and I'm going to join that dot really carefully, taking the time to line it up with that center. The reason I'm saying really carefully is you are allowed to be 2 degrees out on each angle. But obviously if you're 2 degrees out on 3 angles in a row, you're now 6 degrees out in total on one of them, you will lose marks. So it says clearly label, so that was France. Now, it may be you want to turn your paper around when doing this because our next line we're going to start on is there. So if you feel more comfortable spinning your paper round so the protractor is facing you, there is absolutely nothing to stop you doing that. Make it easy for yourself. So I'm starting on this line I've drawn, and I'm putting the crosshair bang on the middle, and I'm making sure this line is right on it. And I mean right on it, even if it takes a bit of fiddling around with two hands. So my next one is Spain, which is 108 degrees. If we estimate 108, it is obtuse, it is bigger than 90. Start at 0, go around to 90, 100, 105, 6, 7, 8, and we will now join that line up. I'm now going to label that one Spain. Those of you that look for patterns in the numbers might have spotted that France plus Spain is 15 students, which is half the students. So it makes sense that France plus Spain should be half the pie chart. That's a good little idiot check to make sure you've not done anything wrong. So now we carry on from Spain. So again, I'm going to rotate my paper round to make life easy for myself. Put the crosshairs in the middle, baseline on that line. If at this point you are really struggling with the protractor and want to pop your hand up, there are 4 members of staff, 5 members of staff. So, Italy, 36 degrees. I know 36 is a small acute angle. I'm starting from 0, 30, 35, 36. Yep, that's a small acute angle. I've definitely used the right side of the protractor. Join from the centre out to the edge, and I will label that Italy. 2 left, Greece and America. Greece is 84 degrees. So again, I'll rotate my paper around to get that line horizontal, because I personally find using my protractor easier then. Crosshairs right on that dot, still right in the centre. 2 hands on the protractor, bringing the baseline round until it is exactly on that line. Exactly on. It's not half a millimetre above or below. 84 degrees. That's very close to being a right angle, but it's a bit smaller than a right angle. So I'm still using this outside scale. 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Just smaller than the right angle. So I'll join that up. And I will label that Greece. At this point, that sector must be America. However, I'm going to measure it, because if it is massively wrong, I will need to go back and recheck. So that's my version of double checking my work. So USA should be, America should be 60 degrees. I'll put my crosshairs on, and this time I'm going to be measuring from the right. So I'm going to be using the inside scale of my protractor, because I always start at 0. I know 60 is less than a right angle, so it's looking good so far, and it's bang on 60. I'm very happy. I'll just repeat. If I'd been 1 degree too big, there, and there, by pinching 1 degree off all of those, America would be 4 degrees too small. That would be outside the tolerance allowed. I would lose a mark, so it's worth being super careful. I've used a thick green pen so you can see really clearly. Obviously, I would not use a pen in an exam, because if I have made a mistake, I can't erase it and redo it. That's why we hammer on about sharp pencil for accuracy and pencil for any diagrams, so you can rub it out and redo it if required. If it's not a sharp pencil, if it's a thick pencil that's blunt, you may be drawing a line that is 2 or 3 degrees wide. That may well get marked inaccurate. Okay. What percentage? So it's asking us for a percentage. Of the 30 students went to France. So keywords, percentage, and France. So what we'll do is, we'll look at how many students went to France, which was 6. And it's out of a total of 30 students. This is still non-calculator. We need to get that over 100. That's what percentage is. If I simplify that fraction, I see that they are both multiples of 6. 6 goes into 6 once, 6 goes into 30 5 times. The reason I have done that is 30 will not go into 100. 30 is not a factor of 100. 5 is a factor of 100. So my working lines there are, I have divided by 6, and I've done exactly the same to the numerator as I've done to the denominator, because now I can make that out of 100. To change 5 to 100, I times by 20, and because I did that to the bottom, to the denominator, I must do it to the top, the numerator. Once I have a fraction of out of 100, it's really easy to change to a percent, because percent means out of 100. So my answer is 20%. There were 6 marks awarded there, so let's just look where we can get our marks. 4 marks for the pie chart. You get 1 mark for working out that each student is worth 12 degrees. If you've got your angles correct, you get a mark, and that means you will have had a mark from calculating the angles and then drawing them correctly. And you'll get a mark for your labels as well, because it asks you to clearly label it. On this bottom one, you'll get a mark for simplifying the fraction into a fraction that can be multiplied up to out of 100. And you'll get a mark for your final answer. Pertinent videos for this question. You have video 234. That relates to percentage of an amount, and that is the non-calc version, because there are 2 ways to calculate percentages, one calculator, one non-calculator. You need to know them both, they are different. We then have video 163, which is to do with graphs, and in particular pie charts, the drawing of them. And then 164, graphs, pie charts, and that's to do with the interpreting of them. So one is physically drawing them, one is reading and interpreting what a completed one tells you.